lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
That's right. Yeah. Pray to him. You gotta put in the work too. That's right. You just can't pray and he just give it to you. No, he ain't gonna give it to you.
You gotta put in the work. He gon' put in the work. We gon' put in the work. And we put it together, and it's all teamwork. Now everybody knows that nothing comes easy when you got a goal inside. You might have a chance, but you gotta have faith if you want the right things in life. Everybody wants that easy road. Nobody wanna put in the work. Then you point your fingers at God 'cause it didn't work. Now you got your feelings hurt. Why? Because you did not pray. Why? Because you didn't have faith. Why? Your heart was not in the right place. Why? Or maybe you was in a dark place. But this is not the time to be down. So you better stand up. You better turn that frown upside down. And you better stand up. You gotta put in the work. He gon' put in the work. We gon' put in the work. And we put it together, and it's all teamwork. See, everyone in life has had to go and face their fears. And if there is a lack of prayer, then soon follow the tears. So never give up hope because there is nothing to fear. Just put in the work and you will see it all so clear. Oh, so clear. Wait a minute, you got to focus on you. Oh, so clear. And when you plant that seed, that's when he'll come through. Oh, so clear. There is no I in you, so you better team up. Oh, so clear. I got the perfect partner for you. Just look up. You gotta put in the work. He gon' put in the work. We gon' put in the work. And we put it together, and it's all teamwork. W means you're willing to fight for it all. O means outlasting every downfall. R means resurrection, God all up in this place. K means you kick the devil right in his face, and I'm like, work, pray, work, come on and work. Pray, work, come on and work. Pray, work, come on and work. Pray, work, pray, work. You gotta put in the work. You gotta put in the work. He gon' put in the work. He gon' put in the work. We gon' put in the work. You gotta put in the work. And we put it together, and it's all teamwork. Here we go now.
Powerless. Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to the From Powerless to Powerful show. I am your host, Rise and Win coach Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream, where I get the divine honor of teaching. Yes, thank you for being here. I get the divine honor of teaching others how to release internal struggles effortlessly and walk in newness. That's what Rise and Win stands for. And it is my heartfelt intention to encourage and empower through inspirational teaching, spiritual enlightenment, and guided transformation. I believe with my whole heart that we all deserve to start waking up to a life that we love. And so in order to do that, we have to be intentional about the life that we create. And so if you have not visited my website, I want you to go there and get a free copy of my ebook, which is titled Creating Your Life, and it will help you get clear about what you most desire and help you define the pathway to it. And you can grab your free copy at cynthianewell.com. Now, if you missed last show, Making Your Mark, where I spoke with Miss Kimmy Robinson, you missed a great show because on that show, she openly shares how she found the strength to leave an abusive marriage with her 2 young daughters and start, the business and move in the direction that God had been guiding her to for several years. And so if you want to catch the replay, you can. It's on my Facebook page, From Powerless to Powerful. You can listen to it live there, or you can download the replay. Now, this season, we're in season 3 of the From Powerless to Powerful show. In this season, we're talking about living intentional. So today we're going to be talking about no more hiding. No more hiding. The ultimate self-love is seeking your truth. And I have a wonderful, anointed, powerful guest that's going to be joining me in just a moment. But when I thought about that topic, it made me think about, my experience with hiding. In this book that I'm reading now by Brené Brown, she says something that's very profound to me. She says, owning our stories and loving ourselves through the process is the bravest thing that we will ever do. And I thought about that and in relation to the topic that we're talking about, and I just began to reflect on, how this topic has impacted my life. And I would say the truth of the matter is when I got to thinking about it, when I really thought and sat down and was with, where I hid in my life, the truth came up. And the truth was I wanted to spend all of my seconds, my minutes, and hours of the day doing what brought me absolute joy. However, I found this very hard to admit because it felt selfish and a little outlandish, though I knew people who were doing it. My dream life did not include, and it still does not include, working a full-time job, rather me working in my gifted areas, using my talents and my wisdom gained through experiences to guide others in living wholehearted lives. What I knew for sure was I wanted to be a coach. I knew that I was born to be a teacher, and I was created to help others heal and create lives that they look forward to waking up to. Yes, my ideal life included financial freedom and flexibility. It wasn't that I wanted to be rich. I just desired to never have to worry about money. But the truth was I struggled with admitting my truth for many years because I thought things like, who am I to really think that I could make a living going to work for myself as myself? I had some deeply ingrained beliefs, and these beliefs made it hard for me to be successful. So I hid. I hid my dreams and I hid my desires deep in my heart, and this spilled over into my everyday life. And so I hid in motherhood by making my children my world, so much so that when it was time for me to release them and let them fly, I held tighter. And I caused unsettledness in my marriage. And I hid in that unsettledness and became a victim. And I often said things like, why can't I just be happy in my life? I even hid in my relationships by accepting behaviors from people that did not honor me. I said nothing. And the reason I hid was because I was afraid. I was afraid of speaking my truth for fear of ridicule, judgment, abandonment, and maybe someone out there can identify with this. I was afraid to own and take responsibility for the results that I was experiencing in my life. And I hid because I was afraid to fail and look silly trying to be who I was created to be. But the truth of the matter was, hiding made me feel half alive. I often felt disconnected and sometimes aloof. And on most days, I did not want to be a part of the life that I had created. But then one day I decided I didn't want to live this way any longer. See, aligning my reality with my soul's call, it became more important to me than other people's opinions. Waking up to a life that I love and doing the work that God created me to do, it began to overshadow my fear of failing. And I realized I was being unkind and unloving to myself when I was hiding, so I just decided to stop. But for some, it's not that simple. to just stop. For some of us, we get in a cycle where it's hard to stop hiding, and we'll stop a little bit, but then that self-sabotage monster, it'll come back on us and it'll grab hold of us and take control of our life. But I'm a firm believer that regardless to how you're hiding or what you're hiding from, self-love can start you to living an authentic life and get you to speaking your truth. You just have to set the intention, and that's what season 3 is all about, because I believe that intentional living is the foundation of living authentically. And so today I am honored to be joined by Miss Linda Mitchell of Amazing Self, LLC, for a conversation about no more hiding, a conversation about our ultimate self-love, which is speaking our truth. Now, I just want to tell you a little bit about Linda. Linda and I, we met many, many moons ago in a season where I had wore bravery for just a moment, and I had met a group of women online from Baltimore that I just felt like was they were my spiritual family. I felt connected to them at a soul level. And so having not met any of them in person, I traveled all the way to Chicago, Illinois, to meet with them for Janine Ingram's. And you all remember Janine, she was on the show a few months back. But I went there for her August sunrise service, and I stayed in a house with some complete strangers, but they didn't feel strange to me. And I believe Linda was there. Was you there, Linda?
Yes, I believe I was there for that trip.
Yeah. Yes. And so I met her, and everyone seemed just kind of like appalled that, hey, you just traveled this distance, to be with these women that you've never met. But I could tell you that I felt at home. I felt loved. I felt like I had found my long-lost family, and they could identify, with where I was on my journey, and they embraced me in love. And I appreciate them, and I really appreciate the work that Linda does through her business, Amazing Self. So I just want to share a little bit about the work that she does. She works with her clients through one-on-one coaching, teleconferences, and workshops to solidify their understanding of self-worth and their ability to have the life they desire and deserve. She inspires them to love themselves from the inside out and gain clarity of vision through resourceful vehicles like prayer and meditation, stillness, and lots of unconditional love. She helps her clients release old patterns that keep them stuck so that they can transform into their authentic self and create a life of greatness that reflects God's love. Welcome to From Powerless to Powerful, Linda. I'm so glad that you was able to join us this afternoon. How are you doing today, my sister?
I am doing fantastic, my sister. Thank you so much for this divine opportunity. I'm so honored to be here with you this afternoon.
Absolutely. I knew that when God was giving me the vision and the layout for season 3, your name and the work that you do, it was a part of that vision, and so I'm grateful that you accepted the request. I feel that, the work that you do is really awesome. Light workers, as some people call them, are very much needed, especially in this day and age. But I want to get more into our topic, but I just want to know, how did you know that this was your calling, and how did you get started?
Well, first and foremost, I want to give honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and I just want to thank the Lord for giving us this opportunity to have a divine conversation today. I am so grateful to be a part of your season 3, and I'm so proud of you, Cynthia, for the work that you are doing in the community and the way that you are showing up and the way that you're overcoming obstacles and pushing through and making things happen and sharing your gifts with your community. You make me very proud to be a part of our community and the way that you show up. So I just want to take a moment to thank you and to acknowledge you for all that you are and how you're showing up as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. That means a lot. Wonderful.
So your question was, how did I discover my gifts?
Yeah, how did you know that coaching and supporting others and, in their healing process, that was your calling?
I knew that it was my calling because as I was doing the work myself and cleaning up my life, because that's one thing as a coach that you have to do, is you have to go through and you got to get rid of your stuff and get rid of your junk and get rid of the beliefs that are not serving you. And so as I was going through that experience and cleaning up my life and learning who I am and knowing myself, I realized that I wanted to share this with other people. I got really passionate about helping others and creating a bridge, if you will, to give women tools to help them to overcome the challenges and the obstacles that they're going through. I was so grateful that someone helped me, gave me an olive branch, and so I wanted to pay it forward. And so I remember back to my childhood when I was little, I used to want to be a lawyer. And the reason that I wanted to be a lawyer was two reasons. I like talking and I like helping people. And those two gifts actually transformed into coaching. I mean, they were two wonderful gifts that you could utilize in coaching to help people, but you also have to add the gift of listening, which was the gift of allowing people to be heard, because most of the time when a client shows up, they already have the answer. They just need to be provided with the space and the support to receive what they need to get to hold the space for them, so they can get to that answer. And so the way that I knew my gifts was to, as I was going through this process, I realized I love this. I love coaching. I love helping women, and I want to pay it forward to other people.
Amen. Yeah, that kind of sounds similar to my experience, you know, and thank you for that. I met Valerie. I think I had just finished reading Iyanla Vanzant's Peace from Broken Pieces, and I had read a few of her other books prior to that, and so, you know, she shares quite intimately in her books, and so to hear that her oldest daughter had passed, I was just like, wow, you know, that just touched me, and so I went just looking for information, and I don't know how I landed Valerie's information, but I felt compelled to reach out to her. Didn't know her from a can of paint, and went through her coaching program. And I've always, like you, in my youth, I've always been a teacher and a person that could see beyond the surface and get to the heart of things. And so after I went through Valerie's Spiritual Life Coaching programs, I knew that that's what I wanted to do full time. But I didn't hear much about it in our community, you know, coaching, and you hear about therapists or counselors, but you didn't really hear about coaching. And so I just started my journey of just allowing God to show me how, you know, to get started. And I just started coaching on my job. And that time I was in a leadership role, and it was more leadership coaching and more personal coaching. How did you get started, you know, with your practice, and how did you launch it, and what did you do? What was those steps that you took to get started?
I actually started in business coaching. I thought I wanted to help people, small business owners, develop their business and create a structure and a business plan. So I started in business coaching, and it was an actual life coach that helped me, Ken. His name is Ken. He helped me transition over to more spiritual life coaching, because he tapped into the fact that I had really good interpersonal skills. And as we would coach, he would say, there's something more, and it's not business for you. And, you know, it was he like tapped into my gifts from our multiple conversations that we continued to have through our sessions. And he saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself, the fact that, you know, that I can connect with people and have divine conversations, and that he said, you're a great listener. He said, and that is one of the things that's needed as a coach. You need to be able to listen for what they're saying, but also listen for what they're not saying. And he was the one that actually helped me to just he saw a bigger picture for myself, and was able to plant the seed in me that I should pursue maybe personal coaching and branding, helping women in the area of personal coaching. And that's what created the transition out of business coaching.
And that's what a great coach will do for you. They'll see things that you cannot see and help you grow and develop in those areas. And so, I mean, I love coaching, mentoring, ministering, praying, and interceding for others, and just walking in my calling, just to see, lives transform. But as I was talking, I talked about hiding. And so with you, and you came up with this topic, and I want you to share, how you arrived to this being the topic for this show.
Oh, this is my theme for 2018. Oh,
okay.
My goodness. This is the theme for us as women and as men as well. This is our theme, to stop hiding, to stand in our truth. This is a year where we speak up and we share the things that we've hidden for a very long time. And I actually came up with the topic because a colleague of mine and I, we were going to do a conference. And this is what the topic of the conference in this that we were going to put on is: no more hiding. The ultimate self-care is speaking your truth. And so I said, you know what? That's a great topic for the show. Let's just go ahead and roll with it. And for me personally, speaking my truth has evolved over the years. I mean, I remember when I first became a coach, I wouldn't be able to say and speak some of the things that I speak now. I have watched myself evolve and grow over the years as a result of being surrounded by women that are strong, that are confident, that are fearless, that are not afraid to stand in their truth and speak it. And my coach was Ayanna Venzat. I went through her school, the Intervisions Institute for Spiritual Development, which is in Maryland, and I went through her 2-year program, and through the first year of that program, you have to clean your life up. That's what I was talking about earlier. You got to figure out what the things are that you believe that are not serving you. You got to get rid of those. You got to replace them with new beliefs. You surround yourself with a community of people that believe in you, that sow into you, that give you a listening ear, give you their undivided attention and their focus, the things that you need to get stronger and more confident in yourself. And so that began my journey of not hiding and being able to feel like I could speak my truth. And that is actually when I wrote my book called Journey to Greatness, where I began to share some of the tools and some of the information that I learned to help me to stop hiding and to stand in my truth.
So, this stuff, cleaning up your life. Can you describe like moments or experiences where you actually hid and it took you some time to stop hiding and really step up in your life?
Absolutely. Yes, I've got quite a few. The 3 areas of my life, and the 3 areas of my life that I'll share today was where I had to stop hiding. Was the first one was growing up in a home where I was raised by a single mother of 8, and she had 8 children. It was 8 of us, and she didn't have the tools as a mother to know how to raise us to have healthy self-esteem and healthy confidence. That's the first area. The second area, as a child, I was molested. I was sexually molested by my brother and my cousin, and so I carried a secret, and that secret kept me hiding. And so I had to learn to overcome that. And then the third one was, as an African-American woman, as I entered into my corporate setting, my corporate environment, I learned really quick that I had to learn to speak up. I had to have a voice in the corporate setting. I used to hide. I'd be in meetings I'd be surrounded by a table of Caucasian men, and I was the only African-American woman, and I wouldn't speak up. And I wouldn't speak up because I was hiding. And I was hiding because I learned as a child that my voice didn't matter, right? My mom was always tired. She was always busy. And I didn't have that confidence instilled in me to be able to know that what I say matters. And so I had to learn how to be in a meeting and be in a room and be heard and have a voice. So those are the 3 areas that I'd like to share today, how I overcame those areas and I stopped hiding, and I was able to stand in my truth and realize that my story and what happened to me is not who I am. It's what happened to me. It's an experience that occurred in my life, and I'm a wonderful person. I'm a child of God, and God loves me, and I can shine, and He's given me gifts. And this journey and overcoming these major incidents that happened in my life helped me. They helped me to realize that I don't have to hide anymore. I can share my truth, and I can shine, and I can stand in my glory at the same time, and hopefully inspire others to do the same too.
Absolutely. You talked about, great answer. You talked about, your childhood, and in our childhood, we get all of our programming, what we think about ourselves, what we think about life, what we think about our gifts, what we know. It's that all of that programming, it happens during our childhood. And self-love, from an early age, it seems as though that programming we receive, it teaches us that self-love, or anything with the word self in front of it, is selfish. What steps do you take your clients through to reprogram their minds and see self-love in a positive light?
That's an excellent question. So I had to go through this journey myself in order to be able to take others through it. And for me, the ultimate self-love is knowing myself. So knowing who I am, knowing what I enjoy, knowing what I don't enjoy, learning how to say no. Mind you, I said learning because as a child, I didn't know how to say no. I couldn't say no. So as an adult, I had to learn how to say no or no thank you when something did not honor me. So the ultimate self-love is knowing yourself, taking the time, and these are the tools that I use with my clients: journaling, sitting down and asking yourself, who am I? Who am I? And really journaling who you are at the root, at the core, journaling about what is it that you like, what do you enjoy, what makes you happy, what makes you smile, right? And what do you do to honor yourself? When you feel tired, do you take a nap, or do you keep pushing if your body is tired? Just connecting with yourself and knowing what you know about yourself to be the absolute truth at the very core. And then honoring that truth, not overlooking it, right? Not forsaking it and pushing it aside, but honoring it, right? Even when it doesn't, when someone else may not like it, they might want you to do something else, but you honor yourself because you know who you are, and you know that it's important that you honor yourself first. You have to honor yourself first. So for me, my experience was journaling, going through and connecting with myself, learning what I like, reinventing myself as a woman, because who I was taught to be as a child wasn't who I was. It wasn't who I was meant to be. And so I had to tap into who do I want to be? Who am I?
Exactly.
And I had to kind of like recreate myself, or just pull out what was already in there that had been pushed down, what had already been muted. I had to just reignite myself and reignite my life. And so that's one of the tools that I utilize with my clients, is just journaling, getting down to that core, spending some really sound quality time, writing, paying attention to your thoughts, listening to that voice. All of us have this voice that tells us negative things about us. So what's that negative voice that's saying to you? Let's reprogram that, and let's create a better story and the truth of who you are, and rewrite those things about yourself that cause you to not feel good about yourself.
Absolutely. And those are all great tips. I'm an avid journaler. I love to write things out, and even vocal journaling, just recording my thoughts. And I think that it's important. And you tapped on a lot of things that are really important. We have to be willing, to take the time, though. That's the one thing that you said that, people really have to hear. You have to be willing to take the time to give yourself that time, that energy, and that attention. You have to make yourself a priority. And I know as women, especially if you're a wife or you're a mother, even if you work a job, sometimes yourself can become an afterthought, but you have to really set the intention that you are important in your life, and make sure that you put yourself first. A lot of the things that you mentioned, reinventing yourself as a woman, asking yourself those questions, who am I? who do I want to be? I may have been this person and I may be this person right now, but who do I want to be? And, really grabbing hold to the truth for who you are. I could just relate to all of this because I'm in a phase of reinventing myself, recreating my self-image, and just really honing in on the answers of who do I want to be? What do I like? I was 2 books come to mind that I would really want listeners to read, and it will really help you with reprogramming your mind. And the first book is What to Say to Yourself When You're Talking to Yourself, What to Say When Talking to Yourself. It really helps you understand about how our minds are computers and how, we are programmed from childhood just to think the way we think, to respond, how we respond. But there are measures that you can take no matter how old that verbiage is that's in your head. You can take steps to change it. He used this analogy that is so profound. He said, when you move into, you have your apartment and you have your old furniture there, but you're wanting new furniture. You don't just bring in the new furniture with the old furniture still there. You have to move out the old furniture so that your new furniture can fit and it doesn't look jumbled and chaotic. And that's the same way with reprogramming your mind. And so it is possible. You just have to find what works for you. And I found that what works for me is me verbally recording myself, saying things to me that I want to reprogram and listening to it prior to going to bed, and then sometimes just journaling, using those I am statements. Have you ever done the I am statement?
I certainly have. I use the Louise Hay tips and information that I learned when I became a facilitator for her. She uses a lot of affirmations, and I became certified as a facilitator, so I teach her workshops. And one of the most powerful things that I learned from her is inner child work. Inner child work. All of us have the inner child in us. We have a little girl or a little boy that needs our attention, that did not get what they needed when they were younger, and or maybe they grew up too fast. They had too many responsibilities. And so there's this little child in us that needs to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. And that's the inner child that we need to get back to bring more fun in our life. I remember when I was little, I used to love the color. I used to play jacks. I used to play double dutch. And just the thought of those things right now in this day bring me so much joy and so much laughter. And one of the things that I've learned in going through her training is that is the thing that we need to get back to as adults. We really need to incorporate more fun in our lives and stop being so serious, taking ourselves so seriously or taking other people so seriously. And one of the ways to get back to that work is go back to your inner child. Go back to doing the things that you used to love when you was a little girl or a little boy, and give yourself permission to do those things just because you enjoy them so much.
That is powerful. That is powerful. Give yourself permission. We have to give ourselves permission to be free. Only we can give it to ourselves. No one else, unless we hold the belief that someone else can give us permission. We are the only ones that can give ourselves permission to be free, to be fabulous, to be, whatever it is that we desire to be. And so I just pray that we would speak our truth, whatever our truth is. When you come into an experience and someone is saying or doing something to you that you don't like, that you can speak your truth. And you know what, Linda, I found as I was learning more about myself, another reason that I found it so hard to speak my truth was the fear of abandonment. If I told you how I really felt, then you will leave me maybe like my dad did, or you would leave me and then I would be all alone. And I had to really face the experience of being left to see that there was nothing to fear, that as long as God has me, that I'm all good, So, I would encourage, for anyone that's listening to today's show, if you're hiding your truth, you're hiding the essence of who you are, examine those fears. And one of the most powerful questions that my coach taught me to ask was, is it true? Is it really true? I mean, is my world really going to fall apart if this thing happens? And what I realized just going through life myself, that we are more stronger than we ever give ourselves credit for. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I totally agree with that. Absolutely. And also those fears that are going around in our head and in our minds are not up. That's not who we are. They're just thoughts. And you have to be conscious of them. Like you said, you have to be totally conscious of them and replace them. The only way that you get rid of those fears is you replace them with something positive. So whether it's an affirmation, I am loved, I am strong, I am confident, whether it's scripture, Philippians 1, verse 6, I am confident in the Lord, replace those thoughts with something that's good, something that's fruitful. And when they come, have something in your back pocket that you can pull out and say, nope, not today. In the name of Jesus, Philippians 1, verse 6, I replace you with I am confident in the Lord. And you have to do it over and over again because it's becoming a habit. It's a habit that you've had all of your life as an adult. Now it's going to take time. It's going to take reinforcement for you to keep doing it again. So just, like Cynthia said, I want to encourage you guys to just know that you can overcome anything that you have in the past that is not serving you. And the way that you do that is you make a choice. You make a choice. Then you get the tools. I used to read a lot of self-improvement books. I would stay in the self-improvement section of the bookstore. Barnes & Noble, I would always be in there. And then Audible came out, and I started listening to books on my car as I'm driving. Instead of the radio, I always have something positive, scripture, the Bible on Audible, where I'm listening to it and pouring into myself good, all good content that's fruitful, that's going to yield me a harvest. Yeah.
And it works.
It works, absolutely.
Just, these past few days since I've been listening to the recordings that I've made, I have several on here. One is I Never Worry. One talks about me being a great problem solver. The other is, me believing in myself. It is one of the easiest things that you can do to reprogram your mind. You can look on YouTube to get audibles of self-help, reprogramming your mind. But what I've noticed is I'm not listening to them to remember them verbatim. I'm just listening to them to reprogram my mind. But all I'm doing is listening, and that is so powerful. And what I'm noticing is when I face certain situations or things, the things that's playing on there, even if I'm playing my talk and I'm cleaning and I'm doing something, it is registering. It is getting in there because my responses are different. My feelings are different towards it. Where I used to have a lot of anxiety and feelings and emotions about decisions or, different things, I feel so I am responding according to what I am depositing in me. And so, it is very well worth it to take the time to have you some weapons. The word of the Lord is a weapon, and it's powerful, and it's alive, and it feels strongholds. You just got to have faith when you speak it, and you have to know that it applies to you. And so where you lack faith, you can ask God to create you faith. If you feel unworthy, you can ask God to help you to feel more worthy and believe that God will create you the faith that you need to feel more worthy. But having those scriptures, your battle plan for you to go to, and like Linda said, when you're journaling and you're taking the time to get to know you, when you sit and you listen to yourself, then you'll know, what are my trouble points? What are the points that make me anxious? What are the points that make me afraid? And then you go to the Word of God and you find a scripture that you can hold on to with all your might, and you say that scripture and you say it with faith, and watch your life just begin to respond to you differently because you're responding to it differently. I mean, it works. And
it
what I've learned, being a student of a coach and being a coach, you have to be willing to do the work. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. And I totally agree with it. And I just have to share, we have a praise texting group, and all we post in our praise texting group are the goodness and the praise of the Lord. Every time he blesses us, we post the fact that we've been blessed, and we just congratulate everybody. We lift each other up, and we just keep each other encouraged. And the purpose of it is to keep us in that state of gratitude, of appreciation, of acknowledging one another and lifting one another up. Community is one of the most important things that you can put yourself in, a strong community of women that are going to lift you up when you need to be encouraged, or going to celebrate your wins with you, right? Not women who are going to pull you down, or people that are going to pull you, people that are going to lift you up, especially when you need it the absolute most, because that encourages you to shine, and it encourages you to speak your truth more and more and more. And so I just had to share that, because we be celebrating all day throughout the day. Cynthia's on that group, and we just have a glorious time.
And I love it, and it increases your faith. You see what's possible, for you. And, you were talking about, the circle, who you roll with. I remember writing an article, who do you roll with? And I remember talking about the story, I believe it's in St. Mark, but it was the man that was sick in his bed, and his friends took him on his bed to the house where Jesus was, took the roof off the house, and lowered him into the house so that he could be healed. Those are the kind of friends I want. That bed had to be heavy, for them to carry him, and you don't know how many miles they had to carry him. You want people in your circle that's going to do that for you. When you can't do stuff for yourself, they're going to remind you who you are, what you're capable of, what you come from, what you got in you. And so it's the season to stop hiding behind familiarity. If you're afraid to release, friendships that no longer serve you, ask God to remove it for you. You'd be surprised. People just stop calling all of a sudden, and you just have to be willing to not be attached and don't take things so personal where you feel like, oh, what did I do? But you begin to thank God for the release. Stop hiding in yesterday, who you used to be and what you used to have. Look at your now and stand in the truth of who you are and be proud of who you are. If you're homeless, still, you're here and you have an opportunity to change your life. We have to be willing to stand up and face life as it comes, but know that we are capable of overcoming anything with God. The Bible says with God, all things are possible. So there's nothing that we cannot do without God. And so I really felt that this topic was, needed, because we get lost in our untruth. We get lost and they become our identity. They become who we take up and present to the world. But it's time to stand in your truth. It's time to be who you are, and that's going to come through self-love. And Linda, you shared some really great points, replacing those negative thoughts with powerful affirmations, scriptures, self-talk. What you say to yourself becomes how you act. So you want to replace those things with good stuff that's going to make you feel good. Another thing Linda shared was incorporating more fun, getting back to our inner child. I loved Jax as a child. I love coloring. I still do. I have mandalas that I color, every once in a while. I love the creative part of life, and so I'm always creating something. I love to teach, and so God has just opened up platforms for me to teach. I used to play school when I was a kid. I was like nerdy like that, but you got to incorporate fun in your life. Another thing that she shared was, journaling, finding out, spending time with yourself. What makes you happy? What do you like? What don't you like? And incorporating more of what you do like into your life, and then just reinventing yourself. I'm going to tell y'all, Pinterest is my friend. I get on Pinterest and I look at how can I reinvent the clothes that I have in my closet until I'm able to go shopping and get more. Pinterest with hairstyles. I mean, it's just so much fun. So I'm taking an active interest in who I am, and I'm standing in my truth. I know we have to go, but I just for someone that's listening, like transitioning to natural hair, I had so many judgments about that. Like, it was one of the toughest things, and I used to wear my wigs and weaves, and nothing against anybody that does. It was something personal for me, but I stand here now with these little twists in my hair, and I love my natural hair, and so just standing, and my husband, he doesn't care for it too much. He likes the straight hair and the wrap around your face, but it makes me feel beautiful that, I'm taking the time to nurture my hair and get in contact with me. So I want you all to know that you don't have to hide. You don't have to hide behind your fears, what you think that other people would think about you or the choices that you make for your life. It's your life, and you have to speak your truth because that is the ultimate form of self-love. Linda, what else would you share with our listeners about standing in their truth, speaking their truth?
I would share the importance of finding someone that believes in you and having a divine conversation with them about whatever fear you have that's keeping you from speaking your truth or whatever secret you have. And if you don't have someone in your life like that right now, I want to encourage you to find someone, whether you hire a coach, myself, whether you hire Cynthia, surround your pastor, your first lady, surround yourself with people who you can speak your truth to and who will pour into you, who will love on you and give you that sacred space and give you that quiet and that silence so you can share your story with them. And then they will love on you and pour love, unconditional love into you and not judge you. There will be no judgment, no heat, and you sharing your truth, nothing but absolute love. You've got to find that one person because that's the person that's going to start that momentum and start that journey for you to stand in your truth and speak your light more and more and more. It's like a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger you get, the better you get at it, the more confident you look. When you start getting those strong muscles, you feel confident, your core is strong. It's the same thing. The more you speak it, the more you're surrounded by love, the better you get at it, and the more you shine, the more your light gets brighter and brighter and brighter. So that's my final, comment, is to just surround yourself with people that can love on you, right? Love on you, and to have no heat, no judgment regarding the things that you are fearful about, the secrets that you have carried, that they will just pour light on you as you share them with them.
Amen. Amen. That is definitely important. That's so necessary and needed. As you begin to grow and heal, you need someone there to love you, where you can feel safe. And so, I second that. I do want to open up the call before we wrap things up. Sometimes I always forget this because the conversation is just so juicy and delicious. But if there are any callers on the line that may have a question for Linda or they want to share their journey of, no more hiding and speaking their ultimate truth, I want to open up the line for you to be able to share. So you can do so at this moment. And I'll give a few seconds for someone to speak, and if I don't hear anything, then we'll just move on. Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to hold you out any longer. So, Linda, if people wanted to connect with you, how could they?
They can go to my website, amazingselfllc.com. Again, my website is amazingselfllc.com. I know a lot of people are on Facebook, so you can also find me on Facebook under Amazing Self LLC with Coach Linda on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn under Linda Mitchell. And you can also find me on meetup.com. And the name of my meetup group is called Journey to Greatness. That's where a lot of my workshops, which are webinars and in-person workshops, are posted. So tonight I'm doing a workshop on a couples vision board workshop. And my goal is to inspire couples to come together, put their vision boards together as a family, post it around their home, hold each other accountable. So we'll be playing some games tonight to kind of warm everything up, and then we'll go into doing a wonderful vision board for couples. And so that's just one of the many workshops that I have. Or you can call me on 703-675-3744. Again, 703-675-3744. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate you.
Thank you with your amazing self for gracing the microphone today and being a part of my podcast show. I just thank you so much for your wisdom and your willingness to share and pour into others. You know, my prayer for you is that God will continue to open up doors for you to blossom and to really have your heart's desire, which I know is to work your business full time. You know,
yes, ma'am.
Our community, it needs you, and so I believe and I stand in faith agreement with you that God is going to open up the doors needed to make this your reality. And so thank you so much.
I received that.
I want to thank everyone that tuned in today, this Saturday afternoon. You have been enjoying the From Powerless to Powerful podcast. My role and my goal here is to help you transition from powerless to powerful, turning those powerless moments into powerful moments in your life. And if you missed the full broadcast, you can always catch the replay on Spreaker on the Elation Radio Network. You can also go to my Facebook page, which is From Powerless to Powerful. The replays are always posted there. And if you are available for the next show, we're going to have Miss Sharonda McMullen. She's going to be talking to us about no more excuses. No more excuses. And so my vision for season 3 and just for this show is to equip you with the tools that you need to live a powerful life. And so I hope that you'll tune in. I hope that you'll invite a friend. And I hope that you'll just share comments, like the Facebook page and share, some takeaways that you got from today's show. And with that being said, until next time, I hope you make it a great day. Be blessed. Bye, Miss Linda.
Hi, Cynthia. Thank you. Have a blessed day, and thank you for the opportunity.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
An ordinary person, living life on the edge of expectation. Ever since my life took on a new direction, I've been living life contrary to condemnation. Because God, you had mercy on me. You revealed your son in me. Opened my eyes and now I see to live my life more abundantly. I'm walking by faith.